Hey, what's going on, guys? Acer and John here, and today we're going to be going over the Exodus Crash Strike on Grandmaster difficulty. But before we jump into it, I actually want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, links, tutorials, and more. There you go, subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's jump into it. So I guess I'll start off here by saying that this strike is kind of similar to the Glassway strike in the sense that only really the boss room is a big pain in the ass. I guess starting off with what kind of champions are in the strike, well, there's Overload and Anti-Barrier. Emphasis on the Overload, there is a metric ton of Overload champions. I have to be quite honest, I think I only saw around 4 Barrier champions and the rest were Overload. In terms of what kind of shields, I only recall seeing a couple of solar shields on some heavy shanks. Other than that, there wasn't very many shields. So I guess with that information out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what kind of weapons to bring in. First off, I think everyone should bring in a bow with Overload on. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, there is a ton of Overloads in this strike. So it's probably useful if everyone has some form of Overload on. Then in terms of special weapons to bring, well, I think one person should actually run a Barrier auto rifle. I think you only need one of them because there's only 4 Barrier champions. And then 1 or 2 people should run a blinding grenade launcher. And then if you only have one person running a blinding grenade launcher, the third person should run a fusion rifle. Then for the heavy slot, I highly recommend everybody runs 1000 voices. This is mainly due to the fact that when you get to the boss, you kinda gotta melt him. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting in the boss room forever. In terms of supers, I think it's extremely important that you have 2 Well of Radiance Warlocks running the Phoenix Protocol exotic chest piece, and the third class can be whatever. It literally doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you need 2 Phoenix Protocol Warlocks. If you want a exact recommendation, I recommend either the third person be a Stasis Hunter or Thunder Crash Titan, or if you don't have Stasis, maybe a Tever Hunter. Doesn't matter if it's bottom or top tree, just has to be one of those. In terms of what do I do if I don't have 2 Well Warlocks, well, unfortunately at the moment I have no clue. All I know is that ended up working really well with me, and recently there is a nerf, if you're not aware, there was a nerf to all the super regenning exotics, and so I'm unsure if the Ursa Furiosa Titan strat with Middle Tree Sentinel still works, but dual Ursa Furiosa Titans may be able to replace dual Warlocks. Maybe. It's just you gotta have at least one Warlock to have that healing rift, and they gotta be able to spam it. And if you don't have 1000 voices, well, it's gonna be rough, but I think a linear fusion rifle, whether it be legendary or it's the exotic sleeper simulant, that could work. But you're going to get the best results with 1000 voices. Also, if you do end up having a Tever or Stasis Hunter, I do highly recommend that they run the Aeon Gauntlets with the one perk that allows them to finish champions to give the rest of the fire team heavy ammo. In terms of armor mods, if you're running 1000 voices, run every kind of fusion rifle ammo finder for the helmet and the boots. And for your chest piece, you want to be running sniper resist and melee resistance. There's a lot of things that like to melee in this strike. However, since we are dealing with Fallen in this strike, I definitely think arc resist is another solid choice. In terms of anti-champion mods, obviously run Overload Bow, and if you're the person running the auto rifle, make sure you have Overload Bow and Anti-Barrier auto rifle. And obviously on your class item, run Particle Deconstruction, so that way your 1000 voices could be doing a large amount of damage. And if you're on a Solar or Stasis subclass, I always forget the name of this, but I'm pretty sure it's Thermoclastic Strike. It's the one that allows your Stasis and Solar melees to get not only recharged on Overload champion stuns, but gives you the ability to stun Overloads with your melee. In terms of a build, I don't think builds are really ever necessary in stuff like this just because they're too hard to pull off. However, I always run a super simplistic protective light build that I show off in a video in the description down below. So if you're interested in that, you go check that out. With that being said, let's go ahead and break down the different parts of the strike. We're mainly going to be focusing on two spots, the capture point area and the boss room area, because the in-between sections where you have to step in the arc beams in the sky, the blue things, you know what I'm talking about. Those areas are pretty simple. I mean, all you gotta do is take your time, shoot things from a distance, and then never use your sparrow in those areas. Also, when you get to the point where you have to kill the fallen walker spider tank thing, I recommend hanging out to the left side when you first enter that area. I'll try to have gameplay on screen of me doing this so you can see what area I'm talking about. But if you hang out in this area, keep an eye out for snipers. You should be able to take down the spider tank as well as the giant Vex dude pretty easily. Anyways, once you get to the capture point area, first, before you even start it, make sure you clear out the room. There's a lot of stuff in there to begin with, as well as I think 2 overload champions. Also, there's a ton of invisible melee dudes as well, so watch out for that. Basically, the whole strat to this area is all 3 of you, stand on the point until you see enemies spawning in. And then when you see enemies spawn in, you back up to the stairs back there, like you can see me hopefully doing in the gameplay. Yeah, but basically, you just, when ads spawn in, you back up, you kill them all, and then you set back on, and then you rinse and repeat till you get around the 50% mark. Once you get to the 50% mark, then 2 barrier champions will end up spawning in, and each time you kill them, I'm pretty sure a overload champion spawns in, so be aware of that. Then, obviously, once everything is dead, you rinse and repeat till you complete the section. And now, we're gonna talk about the boss room, because this is interesting. When you get into the boss room, you're going to want to leave the leftmost shank alive, kill all the rest, and then your entire team is going to go stand behind this electrical generator thing in the back middle right, sort of. Once everyone has supers and your 2 warlocks have a Well of Radiance as well as Rift, you're going to kill the last shank and start it up. Now, I'd like to point out, when you're getting electrocuted, you cannot double jump. You can only do a very small single jump. However, don't worry, your basic Warlock Healing Rift can actually out-heal the electrical damage, so it's not that big of a deal. When you have electrical damage on you, you want to keep healing, which should be at the beginning and the ends of the boss fight. Also, when you see the boss himself in the arena, that is when you want to pop your Well of Radiance, and basically, when you're popping the Well of Radiances, you basically just want to keep trading off. So, one Warlock will first pop their Well of Radiance. As soon as that runs out and the boss is still in the arena, then the next Warlock pops their Well of Radiance. Otherwise, if the boss is not in the arena and you have the electrical damage on you, then you're going to need to pop a Healing Rift. Now, after the first phase, if you need to get out and go get ammo, you're going to want to leave 1 regular ad alive and maybe a electric exploder shank. The exploder shanks are really weird. Sometimes they'll just all instantly die and the boss will spawn in. It's really bizarre, so you want to leave a normal ad alive with some exploder shanks. Once you got all your ammo, you get back in position, you kill the final enemy, the boss comes back in. I think during the second phase here, the area you're standing isn't electrified. However, obviously, like I said, the rule is when the boss is in the arena, you gotta have your Well of Radiance down. Oh, and also in this boss fight, I didn't really mention this at first, but you're gonna want to really be focusing on taking down the boss's health first, and then focus on the ads. However, sometimes the boss likes to do his own thing, and if that's the case, if he's off somewhere else, then focus on the ads. Once you get the boss to go away for the second time, and you've cleared all the ads, you're then going to be left with 2 barrier champions, which sort of do their entire thing during the second phase for some reason, so you'll kind of have to bait them out. This is your chance to go get ammo, because once you kill both barrier champions, the boss is going to come back in, and also your platform where you're sort of chilling at is going to become electrified again, meaning it's going to be really hard to get back in that position. Also, the boss is sort of iffy on this last round. He likes to run around invisible, and in this phase, he actually has his melee weapon out, and sometimes he just sort of like to sits off to the side, so you kind of have to get someone in position to sort of shoot him. Sometimes if you shoot him, he actually will run in front of you guys, and when he runs in front of you, he does it very briefly, so when you see him, you kind of gotta land your shots right there. I think a 1,000 voices should be one 1,000 voices shot with, all the shots hitting should be enough to get the boss to stagger. And from that point, you should be able to melt him and kill him. But yeah, just be aware that in this final phase, he's always going to be invisible. He's always going to have his melee weapons out, and he's always going to be sort of hiding, sort of. But yeah, once you kill him, that's it. That's the end of the strike. I'd like to note that at the time making this video, the featured weapons this week is the Comedian Shotgun and the Shadow Price Auto Rifle. I'll have a link to the god roll of the Shadow Price Auto Rifle in the description down below. And I will not be making the video on the Comedian Shotgun because it is straight utter trash. Do not waste your time getting that gun. Maybe I'll talk about it again someday if it ever gets better rolls, but I think right now it is 100% not worth your time whatsoever. That goes for both PvE and PvP players. Anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for the video. Go ahead and give a like if you found this helpful. If you want to keep up to date on this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. We got a news video coming out Thursday. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any other suggestions, tips, or alternate loadouts for this strike, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.